Hey guys, this is Tim and Stephanie with Small Farm Journey, and we're glad you joined us today. We are sweltering on the porch. It is really hot and humid in Arkansas right now.
It's been about 90,
in
at
the
least
high
90s
and
all week.
High 90s humidity. We just wanted to touch base with you. It's been a few days since we did a video, and we haven't really told you about ourselves much. We came from a town that's about, what's the population of such?
24.
About 24, 25,000, 28,000, something like that. We were living in town about 5 blocks from the courthouse, and it was okay. We just weren't really happy there, and the more we talked about it, the more we knew that we wanted to get out of the city and be able to do multiple things: grow a garden, have some animals, be more self-sufficient. That was the big thing, and the biggest thing was to get out of debt.
So with starting to do some research, read some books, and the biggest way I could figure out to completely get out of debt was to do a tiny home and buy some land. So we started off, we sold the house. We lived in a camper for about a year while we were building the property.
And the reason we lived in a camper is because our house sold a lot faster than we thought it would.
Yes,
Which we knew there was going to be a time period there where we were just going to have to swing by the seat of our pants because we didn't know how fast the house would sell, and we would have to have a place to live until we had time to build, because we were building this ourselves.
Yes, so to be honest with you, we bought the land first. Got a really good deal on the land. At first we bought a little over 5.5 acres. We've added to it over the last couple of years. So we bought the land, had the driveway cut in, and put the house on the market. Everybody told us it would take about 12 months to sell the house. 30 days after we put the house on the market, we were closed. It really happened that fast. We put it on the market, I want to say on a Tuesday or Thursday. They were supposed to have an open house on it that next Wednesday. We already had 2 or 3 offers before the weekend. So we had to readjust our expectations and
plan.
what we were thinking. So luckily my dad had a 30-foot camper that he allowed us to stay in for about a year while we were building the house and getting everything on the property and all. So that really helped with us being able to not have a house payment and just having the land payment. Being able to double down and pay off credit cards and car payments. Paid the land off in 2 years, 2.5 years. I did double payments and paid as much as I could when we got a little bit of extra. Luckily, the field I work in, there's always overtime. With her being medical, there's always overtime. So we really busted it and put in the hours and all, and got this paid down as quick as we possibly could.
And we are now, I feel like this year we're starting to see the fruition of what we have worked for so long, to be able to back off to a normal work schedule. And we built our own house. We built a tiny house. In the meantime, my mother has moved here from Montana to live close to us, so we have a tiny house for her too. We did a little bit different process with that, and we'll get into that later, but we built our own house literally from whatever we could get our hands on. We didn't have any good sources of building materials, so a lot of it we had to buy, but we did go to resale shops and things like that to get what we could.
It was a long year. Every nail, screw, everything in the house, me and the boys did. Built it on a basically like a pier foundation. It's 320 square feet. The inside of the house, 320 square feet. It's got 2 levels with a loft upstairs, and downstairs has a kitchen, a bathroom. But our wraparound porch, which we absolutely love. I don't know if you can see, I guess you can see a little bit there in the video.
We live on the porch as much as we do in the house.
Our wraparound porch is 420 square feet.
And so we learned a lot living in a camper that was, by the way, miserable. But if you're thinking about doing something like that, you can do it. You just have to grit your teeth and do it. It's not fun, but you know there's an end, and you know that it's going to be worth it, and it has been. It's been worth it. We learned a lot living in the camper. Then after we first moved on the property, our only water source was a rain catchment that we built ourselves.
Probably
we didn't have a well.
Year and a half.
Yeah, we just
Was
got
water
our
catchment.
well a few months. Well, about a year, 6 months ago.
No, it was about 6 months ago.
Um,
Is that one of the came?
I don't know what that was.
Sorry,
So-
we constantly got animals running around here.
So we just got our well about 6 months ago,
Yeah,
and
that's
up until that, we used the rainwater catchment, which is a 2,500 gallon tank, which sounds like a lot, but we did run out of water a few times.
But-
Probably about 3 times
but
for
we-
a month or two at a time.
When you talk about watering a garden, water for the chicken, washing clothes, washing dishes, taking showers. Luckily, we don't have running toilets. We do compost toilets,
Yes.
so
That saved us a ton of
did
water.
save some water there. Another thing is, around here, every other summer it seems like we have a dry spell for about a month that we don't get any rain.
Last summer was
which-
wet all summer long, so that helped.
and we had an accident. I say we had an accident. One of our sons was playing on the four-wheeler and hit one of our,
Outdoor faucet by the
Yeah.
garden. He ran into it with the four-wheeler.
and so we lost in a matter of 30,
Emptied the
40
tank,
minutes,
yeah.
probably 1,500 gallons of water.
Yeah.
So then we played catch up, and that was in the summer. So
It
then we
was
tried to play
bad.
catch up, and it was a bad.
He still
bad
hears
summer.
about that occasionally.
Yes. And that summer we ended up, had a 50-gallon barrel that we had on a trailer that we would go down to the river every day and fill up with 5-gallon buckets and trailer back, and that's how we watered the garden for an entire summer, which was a lot.
It was an experience.
It was.
But we have learned a lot, and even though we have both the rain catchment and the well now, we think about water, and it's not a chore to think about water. It just comes natural now. We are conservative with water. We know how precious it is, and we're thankful to have both sources of water now. We've learned a lot living, all 4 of us, in small spaces. Everybody kind of gives us the what on earth look when we talk about that, but people used to do that. That used to be a way of life. People used to live, large families in small houses, one-room houses, and it can be done. You just have to be creative and patient.
The big thing I would say is when we started out, we decluttered everything. Now that's one of the things realtors told us before we sold the house is to declutter. Either sell it or get a storage unit and put everything that you don't use on a daily basis. So we did that. Anything that we didn't use on a daily basis, we boxed up. The bright side of that is you don't know how much stuff you have that you don't ever use. And so we did that, and then when we were in the camper it was close to almost a year we had been
Well,
in
we
the
did it
camper.
to sell the house,
Yes.
and then we did it again to get into the camper, and we got rid of a lot of stuff that time because we had no place to put it.
Well, and that time
And
we
then
got
we put-
rid of a lot of the kitchen stuff too.
Yes.
Boxed up all that stuff. Just
But we literally got rid of a lot too.
once a year around here, they have a big yard sale. Had a buddy that had houses on the trail that they have the yard sale. So we did that and probably got rid of, I'd say, half the stuff we had in storage. We hadn't used it in a year, so we figured
Probably
we probably
more
didn't
than
need it.
that. We had a lot.
Well,
got rid of
since
a
then,
lot.
we have accumulated and acquired more stuff, so our storage is back filled.
Well, we have some of Mom's stuff in there,
Yeah,
but we
but-
haven't. I mean, we got rid of all of our furniture
Furniture, beds,
because we don't need
couches.
furniture in this house.
No.
We don't have room for it. We don't
No.
have room for anything on the walls. You don't buy things at the store for your house because there's no place to put stuff. If it's not something you use, there's not room for it. There is barely enough room for the stuff you need.
Yes, we're
It
very.
really teaches you how to.
If it has a purpose, if it has a use, we keep it. If not, we don't even buy it anymore.
Mm-mm.
And we found a lot of things being multi-use, like our table. I mean, our table is our dining room table, our desk. You can take it outside. We got a folding table, so you can take it outside and use it. I mean, I think we've even took it on a picnic before. You can fold it
Yeah.
up, fold the chairs, and use it. So everything we have is very utilitarian, very
Mhm.
useful. It's
And when we started talking about doing this, we thought about going off grid. We talked about it a lot, and we decided not to completely go off grid. We do have electricity, but everything we do, we try to do it with the thought behind it that how would we do this if we didn't have electricity. So we buy things like, instead of buying an electric food processor, I bought one that's manual. Our washer is manual. We'll do a video on that soon. We don't have a dryer. We hang our clothes. Things like that. We want to be self-sufficient. We want to be able to function as usual if there was no electricity, or if we couldn't get, like with the current situation, we've all kind of had to stop and think, what if I couldn't get food, and what if I couldn't get supplies? And that's what we had in mind the whole time, and we really didn't feel this. I know this wasn't as bad as it could have been, but we didn't feel this at all. I think we're making progress. We're not where we want to be. We have a lot of projects that we still want to do, but when we stop and look at what we've accomplished since we bought this land, it's amazing.
Yes, it is. And the other thing is, everything that we do up here, one of the things I look at, especially if I'm building stuff, I always look at long-term upkeep of it, because I know who's going to be doing the upkeep. So I try and do stuff that is done right and is not going to take a whole lot to keep it up. Even with the water catchment and the well and everything, we built them and did them in such a way that there shouldn't really be much maintenance and upkeep on.
And with the rain catchment, we actually built that to where we can add on to it if we want to in the future. We'll get into that when we do a video on the rain catchment itself. Today, I think we're just gonna leave it at that, and if you have questions, you can leave them in the comments. We are gonna do a short tour of the garden since we haven't been out there in a while. We're gonna give you an update on the chickens. I had filmed about the guineas, and I don't think I ever included it. When we got the guinea keats, they started dying, and we couldn't figure out why. We did research. We tried various different things. We made sure their brooder was spotless. We made sure their water and food was clean. We changed the food because we were using medicated food, and I had read somewhere that you can't do that, and then I read somewhere else that yes, you can. People that had raised guineas for years had always used medicated feed with no problem, but we changed it anyway. Someone else said you can't use wood chips. Someone else said you can. We changed and didn't use wood chips anymore. We used paper towels, and we changed them out like 4 times a day, and they kept dying, and they were dying one at a time. They would be fine. An hour later, one of them would be stumbling around, and an hour later he would be dead, and then the next day another 1 or 2 would be like that, and this went on for days. But we have 4 left. We lost 1 turkey, and we have 4 guinea keats left. So we have 1 turkey, 4 guinea keats, and they've been fine for 2 or 3 weeks now. So we'll let you look at those.
I think it's a good note to also say that probably should be leery of where you get your...
Yes, we bought these from a private breeder. I felt comfortable doing that because we've bought birds from him before, and he has a lot of birds, and they're in a clean area. His birds look healthy. I still don't know what happened with these guinea keats.
But if you think about it, every time we bought birds from him, we've had a couple die.
I think we're not gonna, well, this is more than a couple, but I think we're not gonna do that again. I think we're probably gonna order from a hatchery from now on. But that was kind of a spur of the moment buy, and I also have some eggs that I'm incubating right now, guinea keat eggs, and I don't know if any of them are viable. I've candled them 1 time. A lot of them didn't look fertilized. Some did. I'm not sure. I haven't had time to go back and candle them again, but it's almost time to put them in hatching mode, so I'll candle them then. But they were given to me by a friend, and I don't know if any of them are going to hatch. So we'll just have to see what happens there. I think I have 17 eggs or something.
Let's go back to the spur of the moment. So when she left, she was going to get 6 keats.
No, we knew we were getting 12, I think.
12. How many
ended up
ever
with
she was
15.
getting? And 2 turkeys. Never mentioned anything about turkeys. They just showed up. Again, I was at work that day. When she goes off by herself, we always come back with extra. It's like she tells me just enough to get me to agree, and then she gets what she wants. She's like, well, you did say I could get some.
So we will show you the guineas and chickens, how they're doing. Oh, we forgot to talk about Vic. Okay, first of all, the dog that we rescued is rehomed. He got a hold of our rooster. I don't know if that's what happened to the rooster.
The hen.
Well, and a hen. There was a hen that we think he got a hold of, but we know he got a hold of the rooster because we were standing there when it happened. He didn't bite it as far as I know. There was not a feather ruffled. I mean, he had the rooster down on the ground, and I finally got him off of the rooster, and I thought the rooster was dead. And then the rooster got up and shook it off, and he didn't have a feather ruffled. He didn't have any wounds. I looked him over from head to toe, couldn't find anything. And then a few days later, him and this hen started acting sick. I thought they were literally sick, and I got really worried because I didn't have any place to put them because we only have 2 halves to our coop, and we don't have anywhere else to isolate chickens right now, and they never got better. And the hen died a few days later, and then Vic, we finally put him down because he was
having seizures and just
I don't know what was going on with them. I don't know if they had some trauma from the dog or whatever, but he's a good boy, and he's going to be a good dog for the people that we gave him to. We gave him to some friends, and he just doesn't need to be around chickens.
And they don't have any other animals. So.
No, they don't. So he'll be a good boy for them. He's very loving, and he's a good dog. But we will miss Vic. Vic was the best rooster ever, and I can't say enough amazing things about him. He was just special. You just have those special animals that hold a place in your heart. So that was him, and it really upset me when we had to put him down. But I didn't want him to suffer anymore. So it's part of having a homestead. So we will take you on a garden tour and show you the chickens. So this is our milkweed that's about to start blooming. It's got little bugs on it. And so hopefully that'll attract pollinators. We already have all this white clover out here that they absolutely love. And then this is my cinnamon basil, and I've got bugs in it. But it's amazing how much it's grown. I'm not sure what's eating it, but we have some marigolds planted over here in these weeds. I'll be glad when they get tall enough to choke out the weeds a little. And then here's our pepper bed, and we have several decent size. We have a little bell pepper there. It's got little flower bud stuff on it. We have that one's little pepper. And there's one over here. Here's a little pepper. Oh, look at this one right here. Look how big that is. So we're gonna have some peppers real soon. Bell peppers. And then we also have some banana peppers here that will be ready. That one's, you could probably eat that one right now. These are the Cubanelle sweet peppers. There's a couple of those getting some size on them. Our eggplant is blooming, so we should have some eggplant before too long. Actually, that may be a little one starting right there. And guys, look at these zucchinis. They are huge. Look at this leaf. I pruned them yesterday quite a bit because we've got them way too close together in there. And they have a lot of buds. So hopefully we'll have zucchini before too long. The dill is waist high now, and it's delicious. We've been kind of munching on it. And our tomatoes have a lot of blooms. I'm really keeping those pruned back too because of these beans. I'm trying to keep them above the beans as much as I can to keep airflow good. This one, I kind of hide it away from the fence. It has a big bunch of blooms over here, and I didn't want to squish them up against the fence. We have some onions in the middle. We have some volunteer tomatoes in the middle of these rows too. You can see them down through there. A few weeds. We have sweet basil there. We're starting to see a lot of bees. That's good. We have, in this bed, we have more green beans. And this one's pretty good size right here. We've got some over here that are pretty decent. We planted some Mississippi cow peas or some kind of pea like that that's a climbing pea in that bed when we pulled the sweet peas out. We have some more basil here. And then I'm leaving these collards to just let the bugs eat. Just kind of a sacrificial plant to keep the bugs off of the other plants. Sometimes that helps a lot when you're trying to garden organic. You can just let them have something to eat. They're finished anyway, so if the bugs stay on those and stay off my plants that I'm trying to do good with right now, then we'll be good. More purple whole peas right there. My oregano I watered it last night. It was starting to get a little dry and it flattened it, but it's crazy big. I need to weed some right there. I planted a different variety of okra. I forget, it's a long green gumbo type okra. I forget the variety here and down on the end of the other bed. I just stuck those where I had room. Kale still looks good, still tender so far. Then all of these on down in this bed are more purple whole peas. And the Brussels sprouts we have one that the bugs are eating, but the others look good. Then we have more green beans. I really love green beans, so I'm glad we're having such a good crop coming on with those. Then these are those speckle beans that I thought I lost earlier this spring, and they're doing great. They're starting to bloom. Over here is the cucumbers that are finally starting to climb and put on some blooms. And these sage blooms almost always have bees. There's one now, so they really love the sage. I don't blame them. It smells good. Tim's little pet pepper here has got curled leaves, but that's okay. It'll be fine. It just got a little stressed for some reason, but it's doing really well, and it has some blooms on it. Right here. And a few more down at the bottom. And his pepper has a few bug bites on it, but it's looking pretty good. I don't see any blooms on it yet. The watermelon is looking good. Starting to run. The corn looks good. The only place that we've had any problem with the corn is right here in the middle. It's smaller. I'm going to hit that with the fertilizer today. And I noticed one plant right here. I don't know what's going on with it. See how the leaves are curling up? If you start seeing your leaves curl up like that, there's a problem. And I don't know what's going on with that one, but it's just the one plant. The rest of them look good. This is my solar flare tomato, and it has some blooms on it. It's a determinate, so it'll put on fruit one time and be done. And then the rest of this is okra. You can see that we did an initial planting, and then we came back and filled in some empty spots that didn't germinate for whatever reason. So some of the plants are smaller. I'll put some purple basil in the middle of this okra bed. Then I have zinnias on the end of this squash bed that are really tall. And our squash is looking fantastic. It has just ridiculous blooms. And here. Got a couple of babies over here. I love squash blooms, they're so beautiful. I'm trying a technique that we saw on YouTube with the carrots. We put seed in the bed. I didn't cover it at all. I just watered it and then I put this board over it. And when it starts to sprout, which it might be, there's a sprout. There's one. So this may be working for me better. The last carrots I planted in here didn't come up. I'll keep these moist until they come up really good, and then I'll take the board off and they'll let them come on up. Carrots have to be so close to the surface that it's hard sometimes to get them to stay moist enough to sprout. And then the sunflowers are getting tall. They got some pretty good bug damage on them, but they're starting to come out of that, so that's good. More purple hull peas there and down that way. And then these are the golden Jubilee tomatoes. I know they're golden, I just can't ever remember the name. They have blooms. All of them have blooms. And these are the sun sugar yellow cherry tomatoes. They are really getting tall. And we have a few tomatoes. These are our first tomatoes this season. We've got a couple here, and these are really prolific. They will put on tons of fruit. And there's another one over here. And lots of blooms. And then over here is just the lemon thyme and some more zinnias, and they don't look as good. I don't know what's going on with those. They look kind of brown. But the lemon thyme smells fabulous and it's doing really well. So I'm glad you joined us today. We really appreciate you watching our video, and if you could subscribe for us, hit the thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Thanks for watching and hope you have a blessed day.